Imagine you bought a brand new toy, and the toy company said out loud, "We actually lose money every time someone buys this toy." Weird, right? Yet the company might still be worth a huge amount of money. Today we're going to unpack that strange idea and understand something adults call a bubble, but in a way that makes sense for kids. Have you ever blown a soap bubble at a birthday party? It starts small, then grows shiny and huge. Everyone points and says, "Wow," and then, pop, it's gone. A financial bubble is a bit like that soap bubble. People get excited, prices and value grow fast. But underneath, the bubble can be fragile. So what is the AI bubble? Why did it grow so fast? And what should you think about when you hear big headlines about AI these days? Let's walk through it like a story. First, a quick history. In late 2022, a chat program called ChatGPT appeared. It let people type questions and get replies that sounded like a real person. It spread really fast. Reporters said it reached 1 million users in about 5 days, and about 100 million users in something like 2 months. That is super fast. Imagine your whole school, then your whole city, then many cities all trying the same app in just a few weeks. When something grows that quick, lots of people notice. Why did so many people rush in? 3 big ideas help explain it. 1. First mover advantage. If you're the first kid to bring a new game to recess, you get the most attention. Other kids want to join your game. In business, being first can let you attract millions of users before anyone else catches up. 2. Fear of missing out, FOMO. Companies and investors don't want to be left sitting on the bench. If one company looks like it might win, other companies try to copy or catch up. That leads to lots of action and lots of money being spent to join the race. 3. Investors writing big checks. Wall Street or investor groups are people who give money to companies hoping they'll grow. When they see something that looks like it's exploding in popularity, they might give large sums quickly. That can make companies able to spend huge amounts to push growth even faster. Now, not all that spending is for good reasons. Sometimes it turns into hype, people calling things AI because it sounds cool, even when the product is not very smart. Think of silly inventions like an AI toothbrush or an AI fortune-telling spoon. They make headlines because AI is a shiny word, but many such products don't do anything very special. That's part of the bubble, when excitement can be sold more than actual useful products. But building powerful AI isn't free. One of the main expensive parts is something called a GPU. That stands for Graphics Processing Unit. You can think of it as a superpowered calculator that helps teach AI how to recognize patterns. Imagine a special factory that makes a rare, amazing toy. Only a few factories make it, and suddenly every kid and every company wants one. The price goes up, and there aren't enough to go around. That's the GPU shortage. A few quick clarifications. A person named Jensen Huang runs a major company that makes many of these chips. Companies like NVIDIA are in the middle of this story because they make hardware lots of people need. Other companies, OpenAI, the group that made ChatGPT, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and newer firms like Anthropic, all want lots of GPUs. When they can't get enough, they pay more or scramble to rent time on other people's machines. That lifts costs for everyone. Let's turn the money talk into kid-sized math. Imagine you earn $10 a week in allowance. Now think about paying for a game console that costs hundreds of times your allowance. Big companies spend millions or even billions to rent GPU time and run AI systems. Those huge numbers are hard to picture, so let's use an example. If a company had to rent a special machine that costs as much as a year of your allowance every hour, running lots of machines for many hours adds up very fast. Companies sometimes spend that money, even if they don't make more money back right away, because they hope being first will let them win later. That brings us to something interesting. Sometimes a company charges money for a product, but still loses money on each customer. One leader of a big AI company even posted publicly that the company was losing money on some subscriptions. That means the company was spending more to serve each customer, paying for servers, electricity, people, than it earned from that customer. Why would a company do that? Because they believe getting lots of customers now will help them become the most important player later. It's like giving away snacks at recess, so everyone will play your game and tell others about it. But when the excitement is larger than the real usefulness, problems start to show. Here are 3 big problems people noticed. 1. Hallucinations. No, not a spooky vision. In AI words, a hallucination is when the system confidently says something that isn't true. For example, a chatbot might invent a recipe that tells you to spread glue on pizza. That's silly and harmless in a joke, but in other cases, it can be confusing or dangerous. AI doesn't know everything. It's very good at patterns and guessing what answer fits best based on what it learned from examples. Sometimes those guesses are wrong. 2. Lawsuits and creator complaints. Some artists and writers noticed their work might have been used to train AI without clear permission. They asked questions and filed legal claims. That's still being sorted out in courts and discussions, so we don't have a final answer yet. The important idea is, when you build something using other people's work, you have to be careful and fair. 3. Silly or shallow products. Because AI became a hot label, many startups slapped the word onto simple apps that didn't do very much. That can waste investor money and confuse people about what AI can really do. So, if bubbles are fragile like soap bubbles, how can they pop? Here are 3 ways that happens, explained like kid stories. 1. The money stops. Imagine your parents suddenly stop giving pocket money for a month. Without that cash, you can't buy new toys. In the grown-up world, when investors decide not to fund companies anymore, startups run out of money. They must slow down or close. That can make the whole bubble shrink fast. 2. A big public failure. Suppose the toy everyone was excited about breaks on live TV. Lots of kids stop wanting it. For tech, a major product could fail in a way that makes people lose trust. Maybe it gives a dangerous or silly mistake at an important moment. That big embarrassment can make people step back and reevaluate. 3. Costs rise for borrowing money. When banks charge a lot to lend money, grown-ups call this high interest rates, companies have to pay more to borrow. Paying more to borrow is like if you had to give up many of your allowance weeks to borrow $10. If borrowing becomes expensive, fewer companies can afford to keep spending on risky projects. Now you might wonder, if bubbles can pop, why do big companies keep spending so much? Picture the playground again. If one team has a super player, the other teams scramble to find someone equal so they don't lose the game. Large companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and others have lots of money saved up. They can keep funding projects for a long time. Also, sometimes the race isn't only for short-term money, it's strategic. If your rival controls a new kind of tool, they could change how many people use the internet, buy services, or build products. So even if a project loses money now, big players might keep funding it to make sure they stay important or to learn how the technology works. This is also why startups with tiny teams or simple ideas suddenly get huge valuations. A valuation is how much people think a company is worth right now. It's not the same as how much money the company actually made. Sometimes a company gets a valuation like a giant bubble, shiny and maybe bigger than what it really earns yet. Let's pause and remember a few words we used in simple lines. GPU, a special, powerful chip used to teach big AI systems, like a rare factory-made toy that everyone wants. Hallucination, when an AI makes up stuff that sounds confident but isn't true, like suggesting glue on pizza. Valuation, how much people say a company is worth right now, which can be different from the money it actually makes. First mover advantage, the benefit of being the first to bring something exciting to everyone's attention. What should kids take away from all of this? Here are 3 simple lessons. 1. Bubbles can grow fast and look beautiful, but they can pop. Excitement does not always mean something is permanent or perfect. The shiny label AI doesn't make an invention magical. 2. Ask questions. When you see a product or headline, think, who benefits? What is the real cost? Is this helpful or just a shiny idea? Parents, this is a great moment to talk about how technology and money work in real life. 3. Be curious and be skeptical. Curiosity will help you learn the real ways technology works. Skepticism helps you not get fooled by hype. Those two together are powerful. Before we finish, a few gentle reminders. People building AI are real humans doing serious work. Many researchers want to make helpful tools. At the same time, creators and artists deserve fair treatment when their work is used, and adults, investors and company leaders make choices based on money and strategy, not magic. If you liked this little tour of the AI bubble, let us know. Hit like or tell us in the comments if you want more curious stories. Want a follow-up? We could explain how GPUs work with a toy factory animation, or why some chatbots make mistakes. Thanks for listening. Remember, bubbles can be beautiful, but they can also pop. Learning how they form helps you enjoy the shine without being surprised when it pops. If you want more simple explainers about tech, hit subscribe and tell us what you want explained next.